What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pink. As always, big thank you to Herman. We're continuing through our select journey in her 2001 album, Misunderstood, and we're going to listen to what I think is the last track on the full album, My Vietnam. A phrase I expect to relate to the historical and military context of Vietnam, which is to say, the U.S. military engagement in that country, which was already the third or maybe even fourth phase of conflict in that country and region. But yes, in a modern colloquial sense, someone's Vietnam typically means a situation which they got into for one reason, but which became very damaging and bad for all parties involved, but from which it is difficult to extract yourself because of how much time, resources, and effort you've put into it, and it becomes an ever-deepening quicksand, if you will, where you don't want to leave because of not achieving your goals and committing so much to it already, but the more you stay, the worse it gets. So in that regard, I would expect this to be a metaphor maybe for a relationship or for some social dynamic where it's not even what it was intended to be from the beginning, and it's bad for all parties involved, but for the sheer amount of time, effort, or emotion that has been put into it, it's difficult just to get up and walk away and to save face at the same time. So that's what I would expect. I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Pink. The track is My Vietnam, and it's the final tune on her 2001 album, Misunderstood.
Daddy was a soldier. He taught me about freedom, peace, and all the great things that we take advantage of. Once I fed the homeless, I'll never forget the look upon she liked to push my buttons. She said I wasn't good enough, but I guess I wasn't trying. Never liked school that much. They tried to teach me better, but I just wasn't hearing it because I thought I was already pretty clever.
Another remarkable tune, and what a way to end an album. So, okay, I'll try to keep everything as much in the front view screen here as I can. So, obviously, we have references to the actual Vietnam War, including that opening verse about her father who was a soldier and may have served in the Vietnam War, but was also trying to tell her about, what that meant and fighting for freedom, but also taking her to feed the homeless. And again, if people don't know, a lot of the returning Vietnam veterans who didn't pass away had trouble readapting to civilian life. Some of them ended up homeless, and there were sort of attempts to ameliorate that, but many of them were living rough, and to then be treated with respect and dignity, even though they were by this time seen as emblematic of a big mistake in U.S. foreign policy and so on, but treated with respect and helped by people, including a younger generation, excuse me, clearly made a big impression on her or the narrator. Again, I don't know how much of this is autobiographical, but given family portrait and what people said about it, Herman mentioned, so I would expect this to be the same. Excuse me. So that made a big impression on her. But yes, we have like helicopter sounds. The percussion itself sounds like, the dropping of bombs, the carpet bombing, which, was part of the Indochina Wars, which is to say not just in Vietnam itself, but, bombing missions in Cambodia and Laos and so on. So the ending, it goes into what almost sounds like the Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner, where it's played on guitar and it has a, let's say, not dissonant, but gritty intensity to it. It's not quite as warm and consonant, even if it is very identifiably the melody of the Star Spangled Banner. And so I think you can interpret that in light of the complicated and painful and destructive history of that conflict and the U.S. involvement. So already it's a very cleverly composed tune. And then we get the second verse where she's talking about her mom and, she can never seemingly live up to her expectations. She expects too much and she's very demanding. And then there's a reference to, I think, the larger life trajectory and, trying to be what she can, but she's having to fight all along the way. And, the entire experience from childhood to adulthood is her war, and she's keeping score. Which again, relating back to the military reference at the heart of the song, the idea is that, over time, whether it was the U.S. and allies or, the Viet Cong and so on, there were sort of tit-for-tat raids and bombings, and, the idea is that neither side could just really walk away, and they were trying to regain territory in the south, push back in the north, and so on. So it feels like there's a metaphor for that conflict operating in multiple ways in the song, though again, seemingly in the first verse, a direct reference. So yeah, it sounds, again, very autobiographical. I think it's cleverly written. I enjoyed both the opening and the ending for their music plus atmosphere and environment, and the track itself. She has some great vocals. There's obviously some layered vocals where the lead vocal is operating in tandem with a background vocal with like an effect on it, sort of that megaphone effect. So yeah, a really compelling tune, one that made an impact on me, even if I'm not quite sure of all the fine details of the narrative or the themes, and an incredible way to end an album. So once again, shout out to Herman. In the moment, I don't remember what else is next. I think I have another select sampling of an album already downloaded, but I forget which one it is, so bear with me, and I'm sure Herman can comment, and people will let me know, how much of this song I was able to catch on a first listen. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.